Man, these salamanders look very good in 4K. Holy cow. Never really looked that close with my new rig at these guys, but man, they are looking good. Today we've got a replay submitted by Victor Mashu. He's going to be taking Lizardmen into Skaven, and thus this one unit of salamander hunting pack's likely to be pretty key. They're great anti-large against all the low armor molder monsters, and the explosion damage is pretty good against Skaven infantry for the rest of the build here. He's got Mazdamundi on a chair, Ark of Sotek, Javelin cohort here up front. We've got some Cold One Riders on the flanks, Cold One Spear Riders over here, Source Warriors, 3 of them through the center, 2 Red Crests as well, another Skink cohort. We've got a Scarvet on foot, love that pick, to help protect Mazdamundi, and then Chief up front with some Skink skirmishers. Looks like some more skirmishers over there on the far side. We've got some Storm Vermin with halberds, 1 on each flank with a supporting Rat Ogre. We've also got some Clan Rats, spears, and shields. They're going to be content to just eat this Skink fire in the face. Very cost-effective catch. Skaven slaves here, some more Clan Rat spears. We've got double Chieftain on Rat Ogre Bonebreaker. Very interesting choice, although I am a pretty big fan of these guys. They're fairly cost-effective. I would probably pair it with the Packmaster, though, so they can both get some self-healing. Then the Gracier Lord Plague for the caster, and Lord, the Natty Boobo's Sharpshooters Giselles have already beat off a little bit, and right now they're just shooting at Skinks, which is definitely a mistake. You'd want to focus those Giselles on the Ark of Sotek or Mazdamundi, one of those two. Probably Mazdamundi, since he can heal, but on the chair he does have significant missile resistance, 40% missile resistance, and that's even without the Sunburst standard of Hex Waddle, which he could have brought even additional missile resistance, which I definitely recommend in this matchup, 100%. Yeah, Skaven missiles, they're very, very real. There's no rattling guns here. There's just 2 Giselles, and they will be enough single entity snipe probably to get through Mazdamundi if they choose to focus. But right now, they're just kind of focusing random targets. And even going like 1-1 on these 2 high-value targets is better than the alternative, but still you'd want to focus both on one, try and achieve maximum DPS. A little bit of friendly fire there in the back of those Skinks. Actually doesn't do all that much. Does the Salamander fire not do friendly fire? That was interesting. It did like absolutely 0 damage there, but now we can see the Salamander shots raining in, going to be absolutely exploding. Those that summoned Clan Rats there, and of course the Ark of Sotek did not drop its Snicks, although the Skaven player tried to bait it out. And the Skaven Spears just kind of defending for the time being. Again, they're fairly content to just eat this Skink Skirmisher fire on the face. Not the cheapest unit to be doing it with, but it's better than most of the alternatives, like this Storm Vermin, for example. Even though it's not taking a lot of damage, it's not very cost-effective damage, certainly. And meanwhile, the Skinks are pushing up through the center. Got a little bit of a melee engagement going here. The Cold One Spear Riders, or no, regular Cold One Riders getting in. They're going to get counteracted by the Rat Ogres there. And man, look at the lighting. Maybe the lighting issues with my game, or with Warhammer 2, I should say, before were more with my particular rig, but wow, look at that. The Ark of Sotek just gets torn apart 2v1 by both the Chieftains and by the Giselles focusing there. Now they're going to switch over to Mazdamundi, but they haven't actually finished off the Ark of Sotek, which does mean it'll be able to come back and continue to fight here. Probably get a little bit of healing from Mazdamundi, but let's see. Mazdamundi himself maybe go hide in these trees right here as he supports this engagement. The Cold One Spear Riders are doing okay. The Saurus will definitely trade very well into most of these units here, but you can see that. The Storm Vermin, the leadership's really not doing very great for how expensive they are. They're actually pretty poor quality infantry. Just have a lot of numbers, but look at this. Dreaded 13th Explosion does hit the dreaded the Salamander, the Dread Salamander pack. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but the summon is very well placed to immediately start just chopping them up. So nice Storm Vermin summon there. A lot of people don't know, but the Dreaded 13th spell Explosion, like where the unit is summoned from, actually does a pretty good amount of damage. Not that much to a sort of cavalry, armored cavalry type unit. Anyway, see these Giselles running for the hills as they get just chased down by a horde of Skinks. Even the Skink Skirmishers, pretty good stuff to get them in melee. Likewise, the Cold One Rider is able to get up and around, get into those Giselles before the Rat Ogres come to play. We're going to collapse them fairly quickly, but more Red Crest, Saurus getting through, getting onto those high-value, low-value targets even. Oh, yeah. Fun stuff. Mazdamundi coming around to just bop some Skaven slaves, magic them away. Ark of Sotek is still hanging around. Possible it could maybe get healed and come back, but the Salamander hunting pack pretty critically has been chased, not quite off the battlefield. They've been chased pretty far, but Storm Vermin summon actually runs out of steam before they're able to fully chase them off the map, right? So potentially pretty critical if they can come back in the late game, but for the time being, let's keep it close. Skink Skirmishers used up a lot of his ammo already. This unit of Storm Vermin still fighting. They were able to come back and pretty much beat down that unit of Spear Riders. Pretty cost effective for them. That's like a great one-to-one trade, actually, more or less, but a little bit of a banishment gets unleashed there, trying to, I guess, just screen and zone some of these units away and keep these Skink Skirmishers safe. If they could start firing, the Chieftains don't have a ton of armor. 70 is pretty good. It's not a crazy amount, though. The Gracier Plague with 100 on his cart definitely has a little bit better, but thankfully the cold one, Saurus Scarvet, rather, not even on a cold one, on foot, his elite anti-large AP presence and the fact that he's so healthy in this late game will definitely help. Him plus Mazdamundi should be able to 2v2 against the Chieftains and actually beat them, but we'll see. There is still the Skink Chief hanging around, of course, as well. He can act as an additional single entity if he runs out of ammo, get in there with his little 310 weapon strength, maybe get some attacks in the rear or something. But right now he's being forced to run. Yeah, he's cutting back towards his other characters, which is smart. Meanwhile, the Skinks and Saurus breaking up this pocket of resistance of the Skaven here. A few jabs coming through, Skink Skirmishers coming through. Probably going to use their ranged attacks on these Rat Ogres. Instead, actually, they switch over to the other Rat Ogres, coming for a rear charge. Pretty good play there. Nice little catch. These guys are basically defeated already, and it would have been overkill. Use that last bit of ammunition there. But meanwhile, Mazdamundi in trouble. The Skink Skirmisher, the Skink Chief, rather, the Chief Skirmisher, if you will, he gets routed off, but then here comes a Scarvet. He's making his stand against the giant abomination of a rat. Wow, that is a quite large rat ogre, I must say. Bonebreaker here, definitely feeling the pain. A little bit of an apotheosis to keep him topped up, even though he hasn't taken much damage, sort of preventative healing, right? He's done a number already, pretty much beat down one Chieftain. And now a little bit of more fire from the Skink Chief into the back of the Chieftain. Mazdamundi hanging around. The Skirmishers moving into support in melee. And while this may not seem like the best idea, actually I kind of like this, just in order to distract some of the attacks of these various single entities to not always be focusing on the Scarvet. So the Skink Skirmishers are not going to contribute much in terms of their own damage. But this Skink Skirmisher actually gets some pretty key volleys there on the Chieftain. Other Chieftain comes through, getting on Mazdamundi. He can apotheosis himself to try and stay in this fight a little bit, but definitely doesn't want to go 2v1 here. That being said, the Skaven are pretty much just down to their characters. There's a tiny bit of troops here getting cleaned up by those various Skinks and Saurus. Pretty much the rest of the Skaven army is just these three characters. So we'll keep it close as Mazdamundi dukes it out with this one. You can see the Saurus Scarvet coming for a charge. The other Bonebreaker comes for another charge. Oh, yeah. Ooh, right in the dong. Wow. That poke was extremely well placed, I have to say. And Mazdamundi, unfortunately, does get killed by one Bonebreaker, but the other Bonebreaker gets routed. 185 goes down to 97 from that shot from the Skink Chief, and he should not come back. Very unlikely to come back. Got this pocket of Skinks rallying too, and that's right, the tactical reserve of the Salamander hunting pack still is forgotten about for the time being, but definitely can come back and contribute to the win. Let's see, though. Scarvet trying to rally his Saurus back together and not get bogged down, but the Rat Ogres, Clan Rats, Skaven Slaves even coming through to try and keep him stopped up and away from these high-value characters. The Skink Skirmisher fire, doing a little bit of poke there. The Chief also has a couple more shots left, literally, like 6 more shots. So that ammunition will also be well used. These Skink Skirmishers trying to fire in, do whatever they can to the Gracier. The armor of the Gracier could be a problem in the late game. There's a few armor-piercing units. You know, you've got the Scarvet, you've got the Red Crest, but the missiles, even the anti-large missiles, the Salamanders don't have that much AP. They're primarily non-AP damage, in fact, but we'll see. Salamanders now have been remembered and are coming back to help in this pitched late game. Balance of power showing slightly in Skaven's favor because of the character HP, but in terms of army situation, battlefield control, unquestionably, men are in a much better position. All these Skaven forces are already wavering, tattered, and unlikely to come back and contribute at all to this battle in the late game. But let's see. Oh man, those Stormvermin running from the Red Crest. That is a great engagement for the Red Crest, but they're going to nope out, use their superior speed to dictate engagements, which is definitely a smart play at this late game, right? The Skaven infantry are fast, not quite as fast as the Skinks, so why even take an unfavorable engagement there, but getting a nice round on the Chieftain there. The AP damage of the Red Crest should help a little bit, but he does have 40 melee defense, certainly good enough to resist the low 24 melee attack of those Red Crests. Zone splash attacks, be able to route them fairly quickly, but he did take some damage there. Saurus Scarvet still completely healthy. Just going to leave his Saurus warriors to beat down that unit of Stormvermin there, although with the help of the cart, they will probably end up actually losing. Chieftain also coming through to try and get at the Gracier there, but finally, Salamander is able to fire effectively and just explode what's left of the Stormvermin. And again, even though they don't have great AP values, still just high enough damage overall, certainly, to finish off the Gracier. And I always personally felt like the Gracier's cart and the Plague Furnace both should have weakness to fire, considering they're giant hunks of wood. But what do I know? I'm just a silly YouTuber. And at this point, yeah, I mean, the Scarvet finishes off the Chieftain. And, I mean, the Scarvet together with the Salamander hunting packs is definitely enough to finish off this Gracier. So, whoops, we'll fast forward a little bit as the Gracier decides what it wants to do. Maybe hide in the trees, maybe come out and fight the Scarvet. Does get a summon, so the one Clan Rat summon is kind of the wild card here, right? It's helped even out the numbers. You can see it tanks the leadership pretty significantly of the Saurus Scarvet, as suddenly he counts as being surrounded, but nice damage coming in there, and miscast even. Unholy Clamor is going to give extra vigor and leadership, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but it also did a little bit of miscast damage to Gracier, which is definitely in a very close situation like this. You want to take as little damage as possible, so I probably would not have used that. Let's see. The animations of the cart are going to cause a lot of problems for the Salamanders as they attempt to get hits, but as long as it's not actually doing attack animations, they should be able to get pretty consistent hits against it. You can see, though, once it does start doing attack animations, it's a big, big problem. And surprisingly enough, the Saurus Scarvet, I think, because he's not just standing and fighting, he's getting continuously attacked in the back, is actually taking quite a bit of damage here. But the Salamanders might do enough to actually just straight up win. Especially once the summoned Clan Rats run out, which they pop right there. Suddenly, less than 1,000 HP for Grace here. You can see that the Skink Chief is coming for a final attack. You've got these last few... Nope, just kidding. Nice, beautiful feint there. Acting like you're going to attack and then pulling back. And because this thing's so tired, only has 44 speed to begin with. So, I mean, I guess I didn't realize the Skinks are actually faster base speed than the Gracier's cart. It maybe could catch these Saurus, but at this point, just getting blasted to death by the final Salamander. Super clutch there. And Salamander Tactical Reserve used up all its ammo and basically won the game there at the end. So very fun stuff. Nice, close, back and forth game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. I know I sure enjoyed watching and casting it. So here we are. And the Salamanders do pay for themselves. Yeah, I mean, not a lot else to say there. The Ark of Sotek, great job by King Elisar here of limiting that. Both of the Chieftains do a pretty good job. They don't quite pay for themselves, but overall fairly solid. Stormvermin also, again, I'm not the biggest fan of them as a unit in general, but they can do okay in this matchup. Both of them almost pay for themselves. Giselles are pretty nice. Rat Ogres, a little bit of a mixed bag, but generally, two of them do pretty good. The Clan Rats, I'm not really a fan of Clan Rats in general as a unit to bring. I think it's better to just go with a wider volume of, like, slaves and stuff most of the time. I don't know. Maybe I would cut two of these and just keep the one Clan Rat with shield and just bring some more, like, Skaven Slave Slingers and spears and stuff. But anyway, on the Lizards' side, Saurus Scarvet definitely helping to carry that late game pretty effectively. The regular Saurus, I didn't even realize. Unshielded Saurus, interesting. They're very cost-effective, though, at 750, can be. And then the Skink Skirmishers, wow, look at these values. 1025, 661, 557, 1139 on the Javelins. Very impressive performance for the Skinks as they chase routing Skaven and just run them down. So fun stuff. Big thanks to Victor Mashu for sending that one in on Discord. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. See you next time.